Hi there. Good to see you again. I was in Denver working. My wife and children were in Dallas. And I was commuting back and forth about every third weekend. And when I started this little job, I thought, which was the only job I could get at the time, I thought, it'd be a couple of months and I'd come home to something better. Well, it dragged on and dragged on, and boy, it became tedious. And I would, the Lord was shaping me and molding me and reviving me, doing a lot in me, a lot of painful, good things. Nevertheless, I was frustrated to no end at times, and lonely. And when my frustration would reach its height, I would walk up this little mountain that they had there not far out of town called Green Mountain. It's about 1,000 feet up, and someone's built an altar there out of rocks on top, and you can see for miles up there. It's a great place to go and get a different perspective. It's about a 45-minute hike uphill, so you work out a lot of your anger and frustrations by the time you get there. You're pretty exhausted and well prepared now to be able to hear the Lord. So this time I'm walking with a friend of mine's dog. I took him up with me, and I'm going up the mountain, and a woman kind of merges in from another path in front of me. I don't know, probably 200 or 300 feet. And she's walking, I'm walking. She stops and sits on a rock. Well, I'd seen that. And I've been up and down this mountain probably 20 times. And very seldom do I pass anybody, maybe 10 times. And I've never walked with anybody. So this was kind of a unique experience. So I walked up to where she was sitting on a rock, and she was drinking some water, and she really almost totally past her, and she says, do you think your dog would like a drink? And my first thought was, maybe I would like a drink, but okay, we'll do the dog. And so I stopped, I said, sure. Took my dog over there, and sure enough, he drank. And so when I get ready to continue on, I don't remember if she asked me or if she just jumped in and started walking with me. I think she probably asked, a polite person. And so we walked up the mountain together. And pretty soon we're sharing each other's lives, experiences. And I talked with her about being in Denver for what looks like 13 months, going back and forth and the tedium of it, and how difficult it is on my family, especially my wife, who is having to learn things that she doesn't want to learn, and how that brought a lot of frustration to me. And so she began sharing about how her husband has been in Seattle, and he's coming back and forth about every 2-3 months for a weekend. I'm doing it about every 3 weeks. And for her, it's been 3 years. And she continues on to talk about a little bit about how hard it's been, but also how beneficial it's been and how good it's been. And she really, it was almost my exact opposite person, except that her trial has been a lot longer than mine has so far. And so I was heartened by some of the good things that she talked about that were in her life because of this experience, and how Becky, my wife, would realize some of those same things. So my spirits were lifted, my faith got a little shot, and we walked back down through that whole conversation. And when she got to her path, she went her direction, and I continued to go mine. And I got to the bottom of the mountain and started to think about how many people are in our situation. Not very many people are in a situation where the spouse is working in a totally different city and hardly ever at home. Then I got to thinking about how many times I've ever walked with somebody up that mountain, or met somebody halfway up, and we walked together, which was zero. And then I got to thinking about what are the odds of those two coming together. They're astronomical. Had to be. And then I got to thinking about, Lord, did you provide an angel? Whether she was an angel or not, you had to put her in my path. You had to do this so that you sent her to do a work, to give me faith. And the fact that you sent her makes me know that you're not blind to my pain, what's going on in my life. You're orchestrating the whole thing. And I got the sense that he was preparing me for more months of this situation. And in fact, it turned out to be 3 years. But it was a crucial time, a crucial pivoting point in my life. He did a work. But was it an angel? It's close enough for me. That was quite a sign. 2 things I'd like you to know. God loves you more than you'll ever know. More than you'll ever experience or be able to comprehend on this side of heaven. He's always watching out for you, always going before you, protecting you, keeping you from harm. And He's got more for you. He's got much more. Spend some time with Him and seek Him. And as He said, seek and you shall find. God bless.